Hi, welcome back to My Life with Plants. I'm Newman. It's 12 degrees this morning. So all the orchids are in, as I said. What remains here are the natives. And one of them would be this calanthe. There's these yellow flowers like that. And these are native. They can just stay out here. They will be deciduous. We have another one right here that I bought at the nursery down the road. There's flowers like that. Another native. What they're doing now, they still have nice green leaves. But these plants were bought like that size. No one's been eaten a bit by bugs, but that's part of its life cycle. They will become deciduous and start sprouting in the spring. They're fully hardy to the cold. What remains out here, another one's this Dendrobium anosmum type, and this one that has actually put out a lot of growth this year. They will remain here for the winter. And the native Neophonetia falcatas. They are fine in these conditions. And we've had rain. It's kind of like drizzly rain, it's not heavy. Every 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks, we'll get 1 to 2 drizzly days from the end of October into November. You can expect every 1 to 1.5 to 2 weeks you can get at least 2 rainy days, and it's usually drizzle. It's not heavy, and that will dwindle back to from December, January, February, March to about mid-April. You can expect 1 to 2 drizzly days per month. So the roughly in amongst every month from December to the end of April, you can expect 2 drizzly days, and it's just enough to wet the surface of the soil. If you can see right here, you can see the dry soil and you can see the slightly wet on the surface. That's how much water they get. You can see here the shrub has water on it. You can see it dripping down, right? It doesn't penetrate down deep into the soil. It's like a drizzle, and that's what you can expect for what these dendrobiums are going to get all winter. And it's up to them whether they become fully deciduous or not. Some of them can retain green leaves and some of them will lose all of them. As the temperatures drop during the winter, it'll go right down to daily temperatures of 10 degrees with bright blue sunny skies, not a cloud in the sky in the winters here, and it feels like 20 degrees when you're standing in the sun. If you go into the shade, it'll feel much colder, and it will drop right down to the lowest temperature it can go is -8 degrees, which is well below zero. But every other day will be bright and sunny to break the cycle of the cold. And when it does have a drizzly day, which is 1 or 2 drizzly days per month, the temperature can go up. It can go close to 15 degrees. And that's quite a distinction in this kind of weather pattern, where these dendrobiums grow naturally in their native habitat. And you can see down here that this is a really, really big plant. I can try to get my hand in there. You can see here, right, at the size of this green eye. This has got Dendrobium moniliforme crossed in amongst its breeding, and this one has a massive flowers when it does. This is the typical moniliforme type, and this is the Sao Hime, which has moniliforme in its breeding. These ones don't, but they are able to put up with the cold. This is Stardust Fireball. There's amazing flowers. It's put out a lot of growth this year. Something that's not able to quite handle right down those lower temperatures, but they stay underneath these shrubs, are the Cymbidium. Cymbidium's kind of like a humid, drier winter. They still like the humidity. They struggle a bit during our summers. That's why they stay underneath the shrub, and they will have some frost cloth put around them, because the frost will bite them. You see this one here, Ise, that actually is Dendrobium moniliforme in its breeding. This one's going to have a huge amount of flowers when it does flower. This one is a Dendrobium nobile type. And I'm going to want to take a photo and look it up, but I'm pretty sure this must have some moniliforme on it, because it's just able to go through the winter no problem whatsoever. This is one that was gifted to me. There's a label on the other side. We all know that Hancockii can get through the winters here easily. This one is not. This could be another. It's got a plant tag like buried right into it. If I can get it out. It says Sao Hime. Doesn't look like the other one, does it? I don't think it is. Loaded GCIs will lose some of its foliage over the winter as it gets colder and colder. It is able to put up with our temperatures no problem. It's native to China, of course, so is this one. And this one is still dropping leaves as it enters winter. It's put out a lot of nice growth. It's going to have flowers like that. So these ones are picked up at a nursery that seems to supply these particular Dendrobium nobile types predominantly over and over and over every season. They supply the same breeds, and there's a reason for that. It's their hardiness and ease of growth. And at least we forget that a lot of orchids, no matter what species, whether it's Cattleya, whether it's Dendrobiums, anything really, a lot of the hybrids can have beautiful flowers and everything, but if you are to look back to a time where they were actually first produced and cultivated and grown from seed in the flasks in those laboratories, a lot of them were a struggle from the word go, and they bring that along with them. That's why everyone is harping on and having anguish over some hybrids that they buy, and they wonder why they don't do any good. Well, you can guarantee that if you could get your connections with the people that made the hybridization, and then you can get further information on where they were growing them in a laboratory. You'd probably be surprised that you can guarantee that they were quite difficult to grow in the first place. And a lot of the more prolific ones you see in your neighborhood will spread out throughout, and you know that they are the ones that are the easiest to culture. They have their typical characteristics that protect them from fungal infection. They have more robust growth. But hybrids, you just don't know. This is a moniliforme. Look at that flower. It's a beautiful lemon fragrance. And if you can grow your moniliformes to a larger size, which this one is getting there, then you're going to have even more an abundance of flowers. And what's unusual about this one is that it's decided to flower in October, and usually it's a spring flowering. So it might have another burst of flowers again. It's probably just a super happy orchid. And once again, these are hardy in this area, and I've just described the weather to you. You can actually see the water on there. So they're getting some water, and if you look in the pot, it's barely moist. Just barely. It's as if it's just had a quick shot of water over the top. So it's not a lot of water, but it is some. And this is kind of how they're going to get it. During the daytimes from December to the end of April, mid-April, you can expect humidity around 40% during the day, but it'll get much higher every night. You can get up to 80, 85. And where they come from in their natural habitat, which is over 500 meters to 1,800 meters, that brings in like a foggy mist or a haze that comes in, and it just moistens the roots every night. So it's not totally dry, but it's the lack of rain. This one's getting a little deciduous here. I'm glad it put out some growth. You can see this is all of its newer growth. We'll see how it does this winter, because it definitely did not flower at all last year. Maybe it'll do it this time. We'll see. And this one up here, this one's a nice healthy big plant that flowers really well too. Alright. I'm sorry, I was saying Sauhime, but what I meant was Sayuri. Sayuri is the one that has the moniliforme in its lineage, but it has much bigger canes than moniliforme. You can see I'm holding them there. They're pretty large, and this has much bigger flowers, about this size. They resemble moniliforme, except it's got more pink in it. And it's a very robust, easy growing, cold hardy hybrid that is very widespread. You see it often in abundance sold in Japan, so you know that it's a hardy plant. This one is Sweet Candy. Sweet Candy has had a much later production of growth, and you can see those newer canes are much smaller than the last, although it is a miniature, so it doesn't grow too tall. so you don't have to pay too much attention. There's a keiki there. So the older canes here got the potential to flower too, we think. So we'll see how it goes. I've lost some of the hybrids, but as I said before, some of them are just not going to pull through. Especially if you get those rare ones that you very rarely see. You have those orchids that you very rarely see available. You know that there's something up straight away. Because if it was a hardy one, it would be growing for everyone and they'd have an abundance of it. And when you don't see it, you know, this could be a difficult one. These are the Vanda falcatas. I'm often showing them because if you're into these Japanese native orchids, then I'm giving you regular updates. I'm going to have a little touch of this moss ball. Yeah, so that rain that they've had is just enough to slightly moisten the moss ball. Slightly moisten it, as if you just gave it a quick shower. So it's not heavy watering. And this is the kind of watering they get. Even in these lower temperatures, you get that water. Today we're going to get plenty of rain. So they're going to get another belting of rain. It'll be enough to moisten them up a little bit more. And then from after that, we're going to have a week of typical early winter weather with low humidity and plenty of sunshine. So this moss ball is kind of moist. This is the one that didn't do too well because it was in too much shade, but you can see that they've been putting out their new root. I have no idea what's going to happen with that one. You must pick a very, very bright sunny area that has a lot of airflow and it's not inhibited or blocked, so you can't grow it in amongst thick vegetation with very little airflow. It's got to be right out in the open, these things, like a Vanda, typical Vanda. That's why I grow these ones here by the road, because this is the maximum amount of airflow it can get. The air just comes rushing through there. And of course up here, hanging up underneath this carport, is a good area. But if you have them in a greenhouse, you gotta keep those fans running. Extractor fans plus fans that oscillate air to keep the air fresh. And I think that's about it for now. We could try and have a look at these other ones that I mounted well over a year ago. Here we are. These are native Dendrobium moniliforme that are mounted. They've been here for well over a year. I'm expecting quite a lot of flowers this year. There's another one. It's rooting well into the tree. We've got one up in the fork. We have one here. It's pretty hard to recognize. It's growing right there. Looking good. We got one here. And we got one down here. So I tried one down the bottom. It's not doing quite as well as the ones up higher, but I wanted to try it. So this is right down low on the tree. Not liking it so much. It's not really liking growing there at all. And then up here we have my Neophoenicia falcata that's actually got the roots growing onto the tree now. You can see them. And this one did produce flowers in July this year, in our summer. So this one is actually very healthy. It's a very healthy plant, and it got through the winter absolutely no problem whatsoever. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to purchase some more in early spring, and I'm going to mount them. Well, one here and one. I'm going to put one here, and I'm going to mount another here, and maybe on here too. So that is the update on those. This is the neighbor's big Dendrobium nobiles that grow in the tree, forks of the tree here. They flower very, very well. These are Sologeny imbricata. I think she grows them, but she didn't have specific knowledge of their habitat. She just goes by feel, whereas I have to know about habitat in order to give me an insight into their culture a little bit better. All right. Let's have a look at this other Neophoenicia falcata that was mounted around about the same time, and it's on a conifer. So it's right here. Started to get a new growth there. Got through the winter no problem. I'm trying to see if there's any roots growing into the tree. Maybe one here. So far so good. Things can only get better. And this one is a mounted one. It's actually a piece off the neighbor's. And this one is slowly but surely reaching for the tree. So at the moment it has this moss ball. So it's adventuring out its root system to cling on to the tree. And you might have to get some more string. Hopefully it'll hold on long enough for those roots to grip, or I might have to put more string. Hopefully I can remember that. we have any more hiding out? Yeah, we have another one. Here's another monoliforme. And I think that is it. We've come to the end of this video. Thanks for watching. That was the update on the orchids out here. We'll be giving you more updates going all the way through winter into those freezing temperatures, so you can just see what's going on, which is the interesting stuff. And I pointed this one out before. This is my favorite Dendrobium nobile type. And I think I have this on my YouTube. This one has rather spectacular flowers, white, and they have a very unusual purpley pink labellum that I can't describe. You just got to see it with your own eyes. It's a spectacular thing. This one has already put out and grown its new growth pretty vigorously and fast, and maturing it. So that's all in order. That's great. Your name? What is your name? It's hiding. There's no name. It's the part that's a shame. It has no name. Let's look at that other nobile type that we saw before. So everything's in order. Good. Alright, thanks for watching. And we'll do more updates soon. Bye bye.